dating wasn't always the shit show that you see today. You had my parents' generation. They were dating in the 60s into the early 70s. And all what you had back then was you had the town that you lived in, you had the town that was next door to you, or you had your high school, where you had your high school sweetheart, where you eventually married. And it must have been successful because most of those marriages lasted a good 60, 70 years or until one of you passes, until death do you part like you're supposed to. Now you would figure with all this modern technology that we have with the little tiny supercomputer, which is your cell phone, where everything is at your fingertips and you could search just about anything everywhere you go, you would figure that we would be far more advanced with that and have longer lasting things. Not the case. You had people that did these dumbass trends like the Tide Pod Challenge, and then you got the participation trophy era, which we're in now. And now there's a new trend that's on TikTok. It's these single moms that had a failed marriage, and they're giving piss-poor dating advice to other women, hoping that they would wreck their marriage too. Because like I said in a few videos before, misery loves company. So while they're online and they're making the video, they're putting on the smiley and happy face. But once that camera shuts off and they go in their room and they close the door and it's quiet, then all those thoughts of holding them accountable start to haunt them. And they're not so happy. Many of them don't even hide that fact because they would just start recording and just cry on TikTok about their failed marriage. Many of them were leaving perfectly good marriages because they always think that the grass is greener on the other side when they're sadly mistaken. They learn the hard way. If you don't learn by somebody else's mistakes, life is going to teach you a hard lesson about that mistake. And once you get to that point, it's too late. There is no turning back after that. There's this one video that was uploaded on TikTok, and I'm not on TikTok. However, these videos that they upload on TikTok, they float all around the internet. And it goes to YouTube content creators where they take the video and they make commentary videos on these. And rule number one about the internet, if you don't want it out there, don't upload it. Because it just might be a video that's just going to come right back and bite you in the ass. And it's usually going to be from a content creator that's just going to turn it right back around at you. And then not only that, you look at the comments section below, and there's going to be hundreds of people in the comment section agreeing with that content creator that you're a dumbass for making that video in the first place. And then you got these same single mothers that went through a failed marriage that are given a whole list of demands on what they expect out of a man. Like they expect him to be a millionaire, over 6 feet tall, lots of muscles, fancy cars. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now, that a woman only knows 4 things about a car. There is new car, old car, cheap car, expensive car. That's all they know. They really don't know anything about cars other than to use it as a way to size you up financially. Now, on these dating apps, if you're one of these single mothers that is all for these high demands, and even though you're not one of these yourself, I'm just going to give you some advice. Yeah, that's right. I'm a man. I'm going to give you some advice. Stop acting like you're a 10. You're not a 10. You already hatched another man's seed, so you're already down by 4 points already. You are mediocre at best. You do not have high status yourself. And lastly, a high-value man is not going to look for a single mom when he can get a much hotter, younger version of you without kids and without the baggage. I'm just telling you like it is. And if you're thinking that this dating app is going to get you Chad Tyrone or Steven Sales, well, let me tell you something about them, because where I worked at before, a few years back, I used to work with a coworker that was a Chad, a Tyrone, and a Steven Sales. During lunch break, they'd be on the computer looking at the Yahoo Personals, because that's what they were called back then. This was like the early 2000s. And even back then, a lot of these women that are overweight, they are about maybe a 4, but they want a 10 in a man. And they want the 1% of the top 10 in men. Well, if you're going to take a profile picture of just your eye and hiding everything else, what Chad, Tyrone, and Steven Sales does is he would just swipe left on your shit and not even read it. Many of you got an extremely high body count, and you wear that like it's a trophy. It is not a trophy at all. Many of you have a body count that's higher than in the movie Saving Private Ryan. Also, a high-value man is not going to want a trashed box when every Chad, Tyrone, and Steven Sales got hit it for free when you were young and fertile. And one of y'all think y'all clever by saying, well, you guys just don't know how a vagina operates. I don't give a fuck how a vagina operates. I only care how many dicks ran through it. Many of y'all know that I collect vintage things. And I normally get my stuff from eBay. And how does the stuff get sent to me? It gets shipped to me in a box. Now let's pretend that this box is a vagina. And let's pretend that the delivery vans is Chad, Tyrone, and Steven Sales. Before the item gets shipped, the box is in immaculate condition. Or you would think. And by the time it gets to your house, it looks like a vagina that had 3,000 miles of cock ran through it. It's no longer square. And once you take the item out of the box, it is open with all the bubble wrap hanging out of it. Or if you want another analogy, just think of a roast beef sandwich that you blew up with a firecracker. Not to mention, a man with options is not going to pay new car price for a used rental car. A man with options is not going to go on a dating site. He's just going to go out there and cold approach him a 10. Because he can get one. He will only visit dating sites for shits and giggles. And to see just how delusional you motherfuckers really are. With your tall, laundry list of unrealistic expectations. Give me a fucking break. A man with value ain't fucking with any of that. No. There's a trend now that I think is kind of funny. That many are going on TikTok saying that we could find a man at a Home Depot or a Lowe's. And that's very disappointing to me because I do a lot of my shopping at Home Depot. And when I want to leave Home Depot, I'm hoping to leave with something that's going to add value to my life. Because last time I checked, a cordless drill is not going to take me to divorce court and rob me of my wealth and resources. And you may look, but you're not going to find Chad there either. Because, yes, Chad lays pipe, but he's not going to go to Home Depot and get the supplies. Chad pretty much just makes a duplicate of himself by leaving nothing to the table except his seed, for as useless as that is. Because Chad was also raised by a single mom. And when Chad was little, he took notes by seeing all the boyfriends that his mom took in, during his childhood. I'm pretty sure that she's been slapped around, got a couple of hickeys and a few black eyes here and there. And I'm pretty sure he got his little ass kicked too by some of these boyfriends that visit the house. And that's why Chad grew up the way how he is. I see this a lot, and many of y'all make videos of this on TikTok. Y'all have the nerve to ask, where have all the real men gone? Well, short answer is, you friend-zoned them. You ghosted them. They were not good enough because they were not tall enough. So you 86'd them because you would see like a 5'9" man as little man energy. Even though your ass is about 5'2". Any man is tall enough for you. And many of y'all made it clear that you're not going to settle. Even though you're about maybe a 4 at best. So just keep in mind, it's going to be very lonely between ages 40 all the way up to 80. Some of y'all mentioned that y'all need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Y'all remember that? Because I sure the fuck do. Y'all say y'all could be self-millionaires just by having an OnlyFans account, just taking a picture of your breast and your vagina. Let me ask you this. How long do you think you're going to be relevant for? I mean, yeah, once you're in your 20s, you can make all this money just by selling pictures of your boobs and your vagina and your ass and everything else that goes on over there. I don't know. I don't go there. I just hear what goes on there. But soon you're going to get 30, then 40. I mean, soon you're going to be 30, then 40, then 50, and you're going to start losing your base because they're going to start paying for things that are much younger and hotter than you. And you're going to be in trouble because you got that big mansion you bought, you got that expensive car, you probably bought a bunch of other things that you're probably going to be forever in debt with now because you're not going to be making the kind of money that you used to be making to keep up with all those bills. And you have to wind up selling all that shit. So yeah, you get to live the good life, but it's only going to be a short period of time. I notice many of these OnlyFans are getting pretty upset because they can't really get a date. They're upset because no men will date them. And a lot of men are thinking about this logically. They even going up to these women and actually telling them, head on what they really think. They say, why should I spend $100 on a date when I could see what you look like naked for $6.99? That's the only thing you're going to be. You're just going to be wealthy just because you're a piece of ass out there, but just while you're still young. Because eventually you're going to get old and you're going to start losing your base. And then that's when things are going to really start to hit you really hard because you're not going to be able to afford that expensive lifestyle anymore. So when you sell that house, Purina cat food is going to thank you because there's going to be a lot of cats and boxed wine in your future. So when that time comes, enjoy all those cats because you earned them.